Hey everybody, I'm Glenn.
And I'm Xander.
And together we are Fun King 3D.
In this video, we're going to attach this to that.
And a few other things. Stay tuned. Alright, so I don't know if you guys caught our unboxing of the Anet E12, but this is the assembly of the Anet E12. And I'm going to be honest, we watched the little assembly video and it was
scary.
It was pretty uninformative. There's no talking through it. It's just a guy putting it together very fast. In fact, it's not even the E12, it's the E10. But
because it's green,
it looks to be the same.
It actually looks pretty cool when it's green.
That screw is loose on there. So all right, so we're gonna kind of, as much as I hate to admit this, we're gonna wing this. I personally think that I have enough experience to put this thing together all by myself. So I mean, not by myself. I want you here.
We should think of funny nicknames. You're Bald Clark Kent, and I am Picture of the
a huge pain in the. Oh, sorry. All right, so I'm gonna try to adjust this camera out. I just took the screws out of this bag. That camera's shaking. I don't know if you can see that. It's M6 by 20. There's two, and M4 by 10. So you got these great big ones and these little tiny ones, and I honestly don't know what the little ones are for, but I'm fairly sure that these great big ones are going up through this frame and into that guy. So I have all my Allen keys laid out over here. So we're gonna take this and we want to line it up. We want to line it up with these T brackets. But you want to make sure you put it on the right way.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Stop ringing the bell.
It's not my fault.
I mean, unless it's the bell for notifications. Which, speaking of, if you're new here, or if you've been around for a while and you haven't done it, why don't you go ahead and take a moment and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications.
Ding.
Alright, so these are going to come from up underneath. So what we're going to do, I'm going to slide this to where it's just kind of hanging off the table. You want to put that in?
Yeah, why not?
Alright, there you go. Alright, so I just, I guess we'll show you guys. I just put it on the end of the Allen key like this. It's going to go up. There's a hole up underneath here. I will hold this, and you...
I think it's in. Okay, I think it's in.
Alright, thread it up in there.
I am.
Alright, so it doesn't seem to grab.
Whew.
So what I'm going to do instead is...
Take a smaller one?
If I can swing this around and show you guys. There's hammer nuts. There's hammer nuts here on this T. So I'm actually going to... try to get that hammer nut to grab the extrusion. I can't really get the camera over here to show you what Xander's doing, so he's just gonna go up underneath the...
Don't move the table.
I'm taking the whole table with me. Alright, go ahead and try to get that up in there now. It's right in line with the... Yeah, there you go. You'll feel it grab.
Am I turning it the wrong way?
No, you're turning it the right way. It's just not grabbing. Alright, so what we're going to do... Hold this. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the hole was actually threaded.
The roll.
Alright, so it is okay.
I survived to tell the tale.
This wire right here. Alright, hold that, make sure it doesn't fall over. This cable right here is actually kind of a pain while you're doing this. So I'm just gonna kind of do this.
Put it in like a tiny knot.
Just to keep it up out of the way. All right, hang on to that thing for a second, and we're gonna see if we can't get this to go. That guy on the video didn't seem to struggle this much.
Yeah. He probably raged a few times, but...
All right, so you know, let's not fight insanity. You know, we all know what the definition of insanity is, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So let's see if the other side will thread in better. We gotta kind of pull this off the table a little bit so we can get up underneath. Yeah, it looks like these arms right here are 20 by 40 extrusion, and the cross ones and these upright ones are 20 by 20. Now I'm having to really pull this upright towards the ender, but I do feel that I finally got the bolt into the hole. And before I tighten it, I snugged it down, but before I tighten it up too much, let's spin this back around and get this annoying one over here. Now this, you're going to want to make sure this isn't going to go anywhere now. This isn't going to go anywhere because we're bolted in over there. So just kind of support this and make sure that doesn't drop into your lap. This whole
drops into my lap.
This whole thing topple over on you and hit you in the head. So there is actually, can you see how much gap is in here?
Yeah. There
is a good centimeter gap between that T-brace on the side and the upright. There's a good centimeter there. So I think that might have been what's causing our grief. I'm going to run this axis up. This is taking a long time. This is the downside to a 400 millimeter axis.
CR10.
So now that I've moved that up, can you guys see in that how much I'm moving that? So now I can pull that.
Oh, it just moved.
Now I can pull that upright over, but it still doesn't want to grab. This is a little disgruntling. Well, at least they pre-assembled most of it.
Yeah. Like the extruded stuff.
Well, the whole lower frame, the whole upper frame.
Yeah. I wish it just like snapped together.
Alright, so there's your key. Crank that X-axis all the way up. Well, I didn't go all the way up, but go up high with it, because that allowed me to...
Yes, we saved them. We saved everybody.
That allowed me to pull that over. Alright, so I tightened that up.
Okay.
Get yourself a good set of T-handle Allen keys. I mean, my point was to build this using the factory tools that came with it. But yeah. Get yourself some...
Then you'll have to use that screwdriver.
The one I put in the garbage can?
Yeah, you said it yourself. Yeah, you'll get it now.
Alright, we'll see. We'll see if that's required. So there's quite a rock to that, but if we flip it this way, the rock should follow it.
Yeah, follow this one.
Alright, well, we might have to try leveling that frame out a little bit. Give me that stack of Post-it notes over there. No, the blue ones.
Look. Post-it note.
And put that post-it note up underneath that foot. And just kind of tweak down a little bit.
What is that supposed to do?
That works. Alright, so now we're going to take, I don't know if that's a 2 or 2.5 millimeter Allen key, but we're going to do these hammer nuts here on the side. We're going to get them to engage. And even the one in the middle, well, I guess just on the other side, the one in the middle on the bottom on that side was pre-installed, but it was loose. If you haven't, well, the back one on this one was loose, but this Allen key's already stripping out. This hardware has a lot to be desired. I mean, you want the frame of your 3D printer to be solid. You want it to be tight. And if you can't even properly tighten the screws up without it. So let's hop down here. Don't worry, they can still see your beautiful face up in the corner there.
Hi guys.
All right, so with T-nuts, you want to back the screw out. You want to give it a little shake or tap on it, you know, whatever, as you're turning it. I'm just giving it a little wiggle, and what happens then is that T-nut turns and grabs inside. And you'll know it grabbed because you'll loosen it a lot more than you'll get to retighten it.
Ooh.
And then see, this one is massively loose, factory installed, so it's not a bad deal or a bad idea to double check. And it is possible that it came loose during shipping. It's also possible that they stripped that in the factory, because I didn't even barely turn on that thing and it was stripped. So that should now give you a relatively solid upright.
This is going fast.
Not too bad, not too bad at all.
Nope.
The next thing we want to do is we want to grab the power box, the control box.
I'll plug things in.
We need a bigger work area. We should get a new studio.
Yeah.
It's coming, guys. It's coming.
Hopefully in the next week.
No, it won't be the next week. It'll be a few months yet, but... Alright, so...
5 hours later.
Well, it comes down a lot faster than it goes up because gravity. Alright, so we got the x-axis down. Well, I guess that's the z-axis. Is down. And so I have to assume these other two screws that were in the bag with the two that went up into the uprights are for this. And I haven't tried it yet, but I have a really good feeling that's what it's going to thread into. And I'm really tempted to bust out my T-handle hex keys for all of this because I think it would be so much easier, but I did say I would build this using the tools. Xander's waiting for me to get to something where I need the screwdriver, so I have to dig that pile of junk out of the garbage can. It's a good thing that we're doing this consecutively and I didn't like empty the trash and it's gone forever. Because I lay awake at night and cry myself to sleep because I threw the other one away. I'm like, why did I throw that incredible screwdriver away? It's garbage.
I'm just waiting for you to use it though.
I know you are. Let's get this guy over here so you guys can see what I'm doing, because me putting screws into the top of a control box is just riveting. No pun intended. It's not really riveting, it's screwing. You know what rivets are?
Ha ha ha. You're so funny.
Alright, so I'm going to snug those down. I can't say that this design is really great, and I might come up with my own because this is a little bit, it's a little bit flaky. Sorry, we got a pop-up.
Pop. That makes no sense. We had a pop-up.
Pop-up.
Pop.
Alright, so these parts are definitely 3D printed. And they were 3D printed on glass. Look how shiny that is.
Reflection.
But they printed these fast. They are not they're not great.
They just want to send us the printer.
Well, I don't think they printed it fast to send us the printer. I think that they print all of them are printed fast. Can't see if that's
Okay.
I thought maybe the inside of that was threaded as well.
Okay.
That just screws on. You can back it up, tighten it up, whatever, but it's really not. I mean, I realize that you're only hanging a roll of filament on there.
It's not stable.
So I don't have a
Wait,
roll
then
just
how
laying
does
here. They're all
this
bagged.
connect to the printer?
That would be all of these. So we're going to take these lovely side cutters that they gave us and we're going to snip this zip tie off of here.
No. Okay.
Now, what I find to be crazy is that it's got the aviation connectors on it for these, but not for these. Why wouldn't they have made them all with the aviation connectors on them? I mean, what good is it to have any that are that way if the rest of them aren't going to be that way? So they should have had all of these on connector so that you didn't have to, because to take it apart now, you can't just undo the connectors. You have to, I'm going to drop that down off that edge. You still have to unplug stuff. So in the unboxing video, if you watched that, which you should have, I did talk about the fact that I was going to solder the bed connector because it's terrible. It's a terrible connection. But I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and just, plug it in. I'm going to use it in this video, and then go back and fix it before we ever actually fire it up. But if you so choose to wire this, I think that's okay. I don't think you have to hold that. If you so choose to use this connector, that's on you. But if you notice, it does wiggle. So, but something I noticed with this harness over the A8 is it does have 2 black and 2 red in there, so you're getting more current carrying capability.
Do we cut the red wire or the black wire?
Well, we'll end up cutting them both, but for the meantime, I mean, at least they did double up the wires. So again, there's Anet looking at what the problems are with their former printers and trying to make improvements, and maybe it's okay, and maybe we need to leave that alone until it burns. So, all right, this is left Z. And I have to assume that the right and left is looking at the front of the printer.
But which way is the front?
This is the front.
Okay.
So, and then this is going to be right Z. Yeah, right Z.
Left Z.
Right Z is going to go over there.
Left Z.
And my apologies for not having a better viewing angle for all of this.
We just want it done.
Well, we just don't have the space. I mean, it's coming.
No, we just want it done.
All right, so I'm going to slide that bed forward. Let's see if I can manipulate this camera over. the connector for the motor, which is out of view of the camera, is just down here. And the connector can only go one way. It's got a tab here on the top and a corresponding slot on the motor. We're going to plug that in. And we do not want this crisscrossed. I'm just going to tuck that out of the way for this moment. And then there's these two guys right here that are going to go to this. They're going to go to this switch right here. Now let me ask you, Xander, do you think you could have done this by yourself?
Nope.
Why?
Because of our first problem.
Because of the first problem?
Yeah.
All right, well, if you would have had an assistant, like if I would have been there to hold that part for you, that kind of stuff, do you think you would have been able to do it by yourself?
Like explain what to do, or like...
No, actually built it all by yourself. I mean, other than, you know, needing a little muscle here or there, or... And you know whatever your answer is going to be, I'm going to ask you why.
Yeah. I would say no right away, but I don't have a reason.
All right, well, I'm going to say no, not because I don't think that you're capable, but because the instructions were lacking so badly.
That's it with the, like, anything that comes from China.
Well, no, I mean, once in a while you get something that has a decent instruction manual, but...
Not everything.
But it seems that that's one place that Anet really is lacking. They definitely need a better manual. And of course I need a better camera angle. So all right, so here I'm taking the left Z, and this is the motor connector. And again, it can only go on one way because it's got little tabs that pop up. So, and that's going to go into the left Z. And then these guys right here, this is the switch right here, and the pins are actually up behind this bracket, so I still can't let you see them, but I'm sure you can figure out how to plug a wire onto a spade connector. All right, so these little connectors, and I think the E10 had this same problem, so I do have to actually break out a tool that did not come with the printer. That is a small pair of needle nose.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a good enough angle. If you look, maybe I can get that. There we go. That connection, those pieces should be wrapped up underneath. Like they should come across, and that little tab should be wrapped up underneath, and it's not. There's quite a gap in there, so it's not grabbing the pin. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little needle nose here, and I'm sorry I have to watch it. I can't try to do this where you guys can see it. That guy out of the way. I need 12 hands. All I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it like this and give it just a little squeeze. And you don't want to be too crazy with it, because if you crush that, you won't get it back.
Can you order a new one?
You'd have to get a new end and put a new end on the wire. But the E10 had this same issue. I remember seeing a couple of people in their E10 review with the same problem, and that connector was popping off. So here, I'll see if I can show you now how I made it tighter, and I want to check it to see. And you know, I don't think the pliers at this point are a bad idea. So I can grab that. Should have muted that. And we're just going to go up underneath there. That's a much more solid connection. And we don't want that falling off, and then the print head comes over and the switch doesn't, well, I guess that's the Z, it would come down and not respond, and then it would continuously try to keep coming down. So there's your 2 connections for that, and that's up underneath that micro switch, and that is your Z micro switch.
Don't you have to do that on this side?
No, there's only one on one side, because the whole thing comes down together. So then it registers here, and then there's one here for X, and there's one back here for Y. So now we may have to modify the X one.
X is this way.
Yeah. X, Y, Z. It takes a little while to remember those. And again, let's pump the focus out so you can see that these are not crimped properly. They're actually pretty terrible connectors. So I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to just kind of crimp these. So I can get them into view of the camera. Just going to give them, and I'm not squeezing across it like this. You don't want to do that because it'll just flatten. You want to actually get that roll. And I did it in 2 places. Up towards, and it's really hard to see that, but up towards the tip and then back a little bit. 2 places, both sides of the cable on both connectors. Because the X switch is here. Hey, there we go. So here's the X switch, and we're going to go right into the end of that. It's really dark. Where's my flashlight?
Somewhere.
It's right here. Hopefully that's not blinding into the camera. I will take my pliers and sling the cord. Bent that a little bit. Might have compressed this one a little bit too much, but we're just going to gently work it. And there it goes. Yeah, it's hard to see with this little protector on there. I mean, I understand why they put them there. You don't want it to short out. And on. Now we're going to slide those boots. Slide the boot. All right, boots have been slidden.
What?
Boots have been slidden. I slidden them. I slidden them up.
Slidden? Slidden? What?
Slided them.
Slided. What? I sliding it in. I sliding in.
All right, so now routing on this. All right, we have X-axis motor and extruder motor. So the X-axis motor is going to come around. Let's see if I can get this into view. It's going to come around and go up underneath. So if I can't remember, I think it goes this way. No, the tabs go towards the pulley. And in, and then this goes to the extruder motor, which on this particular one is over here and not on the hot end, which is where I was actually looking for it at, because this is a Bowden setup. So your motor's actually back here with the extruder gearing. All right, so now it's a lot of cable management.
Yay.
All right, let's pop you over here. Let's get rid of that.
What does that plug into?
What does this plug into?
Yeah.
It comes around and goes to the control box. Now this whole assembly goes up in the air, like it goes up and down.
Yeah.
So, but this piece, let me get my mouse off the heat pin. This has to be able to go all the way to the far side. So what I'm saying to you is you don't want to have this here and then make your connection tight like this.
Yeah, because
this has to go. So you want to be able to take it all the way over and still have a little bit of slack. And this is where I thought, this was the spot that I thought that I was going to have to break out that crappy screwdriver that I threw in the garbage.
Get it up.
I don't, because it's Allen key. Except for it's smaller than that one.
I think you will need it eventually.
No, because we're almost done building. And I haven't had to use it. I think the only place that you would have to use it would be for adjusting the bed.
Just the bed. Just the...
So we're going to take this screw out, and the reason that we're having to do that is because they put this cable loop on here, and they made it nice and tight.
The hotend is very far away from the heat bed.
Oh yeah, well the Z-axis is up. I didn't bring it down all the way. So, alright, so we're going to take that screw, and they really crammed that in there, but we're going to take that screw completely out of that cable loop. And then we're going to put the cable and this cable, and we're going to put the cable loop on the cable. And then we will put that screw, try to keep my hands out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Cable management is probably the worst part about 3D printer building. So, and then we're going to put it back like this, but we don't want to leave too much slop in there, because we don't want it to pile up on the bed or whatever when the extruder comes to the other side. So, and I don't know, I think once that we tighten it down, we could still move it. I don't think it's going to actually clamp it down. Now, I don't really care for this design either, because that screw is what holds part of this whole extruder assembly together. That screw does. And now you're not really getting to pull it down as tight. And I may go back, I may take that back up and put a oh yeah, you can still slide that through there. Put a washer up underneath there. It doesn't include a washer, but all right, let's not do that.
Okay.
He was just spinning the fan. All right, so then when we come to this side, there it hits the switch and you see the cable. So that's not going to cause a problem. And then we come to this side and it makes it, I mean, it's way to the edge of the bed. So that's fine too. So that's a good spot. But I don't like the fact that this does slide in there. It needs to be
like no.
Maybe a zip tie on each side. And all I'm going to do is
don't blame China for having terrible zip ties.
Well, white zip ties are generally less strong than black zip ties.
No, don't blame.
I'm not blaming China. They could be US made, I have no idea. I just know that they came with the A8. But I'm just going to put these on temporarily, and then eventually I'll change them out to black ones. But that'll stop that from moving around in there. Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe I'll print something to hold that. Because as I understand with the E10 as well, the filament going in right here is right by this lead screw. So that's an issue. So, and they didn't correct that between the E10 and the E12. All right, so these guys, I guess we need to turn that. Hope that didn't make anybody motion sick as fast as I just flung that. These guys right here, they can only go into one spot. It's 3 different connectors, and they can only plug into one spot each. You do not want to force them. And then you tighten up that little ring. Should probably focus that better. All right, so then you got this guy right here, which is the biggest and the most pins out of all of them. yeah, so Gearbest or Anet, if you do ever watch this video, take into consideration putting all of these connectors on the aviation connectors, you know, all these harnesses, instead of just a few. All right, and then last but not least, which is really short compared to the rest of them, that's the Y. So why is it so short?
Oh my god, you're so funny.
And that's your last connection. And then of course you have your power that goes in here. The video that comes with this, the guy plugged in the power to the control box and then went about connecting all of the harnesses from the printer. Don't do that. Get everything hooked up first. Get everything cable managed and wire tied first. Then plug the power in there. So as far as cable management, we got to put the Bowden tube on. But as far as cable management goes, you know, I always say that I'm not going to do it on video because everybody does it a little bit differently and such. But all right, so here's the Bowden tube. And we're going to just kind of straighten one end of it a little bit. Guess we can hop back over here.
Moving that camera around the whole time.
So let's, we're going to plug that in here, and that just pushes in. And you don't want to push too hard to where you bend it. Like, you don't want to kink it, but you want to make sure that it's seated all the way to the bottom. And if you're not,
Wait, it goes there?
If you're not sure, you push in on this blue ring and pull at the same time, and you can pull that Bowden tube back out. But
it goes there?
It goes there, and then it comes up around and down into here.
Is that where the filament goes?
Yep, filament feeds in here. The extruded gears drive it through that tube down into the hot end, like your Fabricator Mini. So that is technically it as far as assembly goes. The only other things that you really have to worry about is cable management. I almost said cable management. Got the cable. So let's see if we can't turn this. Can you get your elbows out of the way? Let's see if we can't turn this. I'm gonna have to move the hot box.
You did turn it. Mission completed.
Mission completed because I turned it?
Yes. You said if we can't let's see if we can't turn this. Wait. We did it.
Alright, so you got your harnesses coming from your Z motors. And those don't really move. Like they don't have an axis that goes anywhere. The motors stay and it drives everything away from it. You have your X, but that actually does drive. That's going to go all the way up. So you would have to group. And see, I already don't like how these wrap around each other, and so
okay, boss. No.
I would take my X and my Z left. Well, I guess you can't really group those together because again, the Z left doesn't move, but the X is going to go to the top. So I think at this point, the only thing that I'm going to secure, where are the zip ties that they sent us here? Let's see if these zip ties are long enough to go around this 20, I think that's 2040 extrusion. No, these zip ties are just a little too small to wrap that frame.
Can you unzip tie it now?
Huh?
Can you unzip tie it out? Oh.
Yeah, because it didn't grab.
It's broken.
So no, it's not broken. It's just bent up. So what I did was I just kind of have the. Let's see if I can hop this back over to here, and we're gonna go down onto this one. I took the Z and where the heat shrink tubing is and stuff, I packed it into the extrusion. Yeah, I don't know. We'll end up bunching that together and stuff. The stuff that doesn't move. Of course, you have the one that comes off your bed that is definitely an issue as far as movement goes. But then you have your Y motor that does not move at all. So that can get secured to the frame, and maybe we can 3D print something that T-nuts onto the frame. Because I don't see any cable management. Like, I don't see any loops or anything that they sent us to secure all of this. So yeah, I did the same thing with the Y motor. I just pushed it into the frame. So, but we're definitely gonna have to figure out something for that. So, yeah. But I think that's it. I think that's built. I think that's far enough to go in this video.
Yeah.
The next step in this series will be us preparing this for its first print. If we change the cable management between now and then, we'll highlight that in the next video. But the way that I see it, the next video should just be us leveling the bed and loading up the filament and
printing one big rocket.
And printing probably a huge Chinese chess piece.
We can do that.
So I should have checked the bed to see if the bed was level, but we'll find out. What do you think? What are your initial thoughts on this?
I like it. It's just that guy in the video did it in 15 seconds, and it took us 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, again, the instructions do leave a lot to be desired. Hopefully this video has helped you out if you're building one. Also in the next video, we will work on tightening up the X belt, checking the Y belt.
Use that screwdriver.
I did not have to use the screwdriver.
Dang it.
So full and complete assembly, no screwdriver.
Unscrew this screw with that screwdriver.
No, I'll just turn these nuts down here. I don't even need the screwdriver for that. So that screwdriver stays in the garbage.
Say that 5 times fast.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this assembly. It really was easy. Initial thoughts on this, it seems to be fairly well put together.
I like the coloring, but what if you just put, next time, just put yellow.
Yellow and black, yeah. I'd go with that. But I guess I really won't know how good it is until we actually lay a print down. I feel that they could have gone to all 20 by 40 through the whole thing instead of 20 by 20.
I feel
where
they could have made it larger.
Well, yeah, it could always be made larger, but it's 300 by 300 by 400 build volume, so that's decent. That's I guess that's gonna wrap it up for today.
Okay.
The next video will be us getting ready to print,
doing stuff,
and maybe even laying out the first print.
And we'll
all the normal YouTube stuff. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so. Ring that bell for notifications of our videos, including the next one in this series.
Ding.
Right. And as always, print on.